As you now know, body composition changes occur when we're consuming more or less calories than the body needs. Calories in versus calories out. We can get a rough idea of how many calories we are expending by implementing strategies such as a daily step count and taking part in structured exercise sessions. But how do we know how many calories we are consuming? You can follow a meal plan, you can keep a food diary, or you can use a calorie tracking app, which is what we're talking about today. My recommendation would be the free version of MyFitnessPal. Before I talk a bit more about how to use MyFitnessPal, I just want to talk about a few things to do with calorie tracking. There are many benefits to calorie tracking. Calorie tracking provides us with an education on the foods that we are eating. And with this knowledge, that can give us a greater food freedom. There might be some foods or meals that you considered to be bad. And when you track these, you might realize they're not as bad as you thought they were, and you can still enjoy them as part of your diet. Likewise, there might be some foods that you would consider as good, but when you track them, you might realize that they actually have more calories than you realized. So it might be that you need to moderate your portions when it comes to eating these foods. It's totally possible to gain weight eating what we would consider to be quite a healthy diet if you don't have your portions correct. So knowing what is in our food gives us that food freedom to make those more informed choices. It also helps us to move away from that mentality of foods being good or bad. Foods are not good or bad. They don't have personalities. Food is just food. But some food is definitely more nutritious than other foods. And knowing this through the education provided from calorie tracking helps us to move away from that mindset that can be quite toxic, where we put foods into categories of good and bad. Instead, we can take a step back and view foods as more nutritious and less nutritious. So calorie tracking is a tool that helps us learn about the foods that we are eating. It is not something that we want to be doing for the rest of our lives. So paying attention to what you are tracking so that you learn what is in foods and you can remember that and you can remember what your portion sizes looks like means that in the future you can move away from tracking yet still manage to maintain a healthy diet that is suitable for you. If you are working with me, I will have given you a calorie range. Now, the reason for this is that tracking calories is never 100% accurate. Food manufacturers are allowed to have a variance of up to 20% on the nutritional information that they put on their labels. So, as an example, if something says it is 100 calories per serving, that could actually range anywhere from 80 calories to 120 calories. So even if you are tracking using food labels, there may be a variance there. So please try to not get too hung up on hitting exact numbers. Use calorie tracking as a guide to help you determine roughly what is in the food and the portion that you are eating. So you may be asking, why even bother tracking calories at all? And I get it. If it's not accurate, why bother? But it doesn't have to be accurate to help us learn if we are in a calorie deficit, at our maintenance, or in a calorie surplus. It can give us a rough idea so we can see where we're at and we can make changes accordingly. So finally, please check in with how tracking calories is making you feel. As we know, we don't want to get stressed about hitting exact numbers because of the fact that it can be so inaccurate. If you find that you are getting really stressed and obsessive about hitting certain numbers, then it's probably time to take a step back from calorie tracking. People lost weight way before MyFitnessPal was ever invented. You can still achieve your goals without having to use calorie tracking apps. So please do check in if you are not feeling like you are enjoying eating anymore. And if you're finding yourself quite fearful around certain foods, please reach out to me and we'll take you away from calorie tracking and we will adopt a different approach to help you reach your goals.